Hi, I'm Liz McCoy and I am here at RBSK Partners, and today I am joined by Lisa Tressler. Lisa is the CPA in charge of our Seymour office, which is our newest office location here in Indiana, and she's also our tax law expert here. So last month, Lisa and I actually got to attend an event up in Indianapolis that was hosted by the Indiana CPA Society, which, for those of you who don't know what the Indiana CPA Society is, it's a statewide professional association that represents over 7,000 CPAs across the state that are working to transform accounting here in Indiana. So while we were at this meeting, Lisa discussed with several of her CPA fellow members there, as well as with several of the board members, which Lisa is a part of, a new change that's coming, potentially. So this was a tax savings law that's called the Senate Bill 2, and that change is potentially in the works. So we've had a number of questions from our clients already who have been wondering about what this change is potentially going to mean for them. So I wanted to sit down with Lisa and ask her a couple of questions, the same ones we've been getting from clients, so that she could give us some advice and share with us what it's really going to mean for us. So for those of you who may not know her, I told you she's the partner in charge of our Seymour office. But Lisa also does bookkeeping, payroll, small business services. She works with individuals as well as businesses here at RBSK. And yeah, so that's a little bit about Lisa. So I guess, can you share with us a little bit about what these changes might mean for our clients?
Sure. Thanks, Liz, for having me meet with you to discuss this. Typically, we don't speak about legislation that's not actually passed yet. But we do know that this tax bill is highly supported, and it's being what they call fast-tracked through the procedure to get it passed. So we know the CPA Society and RBSK both believe it will pass, probably in the state it's currently in. And for a small group of taxpayers, this could mean significant changes on their 2022 return. As the way the bill is written now, it is retroactive back to 2022. So it allows what we call pass-through entities, S corporations and partnerships specifically, to go ahead and elect to pay state income taxes at the entity level based on the income that would normally be taxed only to the individual. And so what happens is, if the entity goes ahead and pays that tax, there'll be a credit calculated for the owners in that pass-through entity. And when they file their returns, they'll get to use that credit to offset the tax that they would be paying at the state level. The side benefit to this is, if the entity does pay that tax, it does provide a federal deduction for all the owners as well. So it's kind of a double positive thing for them.
Okay. So a double positive thing. So
yes.
It sounds like you're saying potentially that this is something that the owners or members of these pass-through entities could really benefit from.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, if this bill is successful, we're thinking it's going to be signed by the governor mid to late February.
Okay.
The sad part of it is, because it is retroactive, meaning all the way back to 2022, which are the returns that we're working on now, the Department of Revenue and our software vendors are not yet prepared for that.
Okay.
So we could not actually file returns claiming this election until Department of Revenue and the software vendors are ready.
Okay.
So that means that those who may want to take advantage of this may not be able to do so until after what their normal deadline would be, which is March 15th.
Okay. So it sounds like what's going on with these changes, it's potentially going to make the decision to elect to make this change for 2022 for last year, it's going to make it a little complex.
Yes.
So they have to, the pass-through entities, just to make sure I get this straight, they would have to file by March 15th, but they can't actually make the decision to make the election to choose to get these credits or to make this change until sometime after that date.
Correct.
Okay.
So the choice they have basically is they can file the return as is.
Okay.
Even if we anticipate that it could be a benefit to them,
Okay.
we wouldn't have the forms or the procedures in place to actually do the election and file the returns timely. So they could either file it as it is, and then we would need to amend the return later, which would also likely mean amending the individual owners later as well.
Okay.
Or they can choose to extend the return, wait for the forms to be caught up and the softwares to be caught up, and then we could file it at that time. You know, if I had a crystal ball, I could tell you when that would be, but I don't really know. I know that DOR is also fast-tracking the forms that they need, but there are many, many tax software vendors that would also have to get up to speed on making the forms online available to file that way as well.
Okay. So it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts here.
There
and
are.
We're going to be kind of waiting on some of these changes. Vendors, software developers, everybody is going to be involved potentially
Yes.
in this. So I guess as far as kind of thinking about what that's going to mean for our clients, how are they going to find out about some of these changes as they happen?
Okay, so for our clients, what we're doing is we're going to review your returns as normal, and we're going to kind of walk through theoretically how this would affect your potential business return and then the flow-through entity to the individual returns. And if we believe it's going to be beneficial to you, then we're going to reach out and say, hey, here's where we're at, here's what we think is going to happen. Do you want to make the decision to file now and amend later, or do you want to extend and wait? For some clients, we're going to know right away that it wouldn't be a benefit to them, and we can go ahead and file. But when we're in doubt, that's the plan right now, is to go ahead and prepare the returns as normal, and then look at what we think the effect would be if the election goes through, which we do anticipate that this bill will go through, and just kind of see. But procedurally, we can't actually file them that way because it's not ready.
Right. Makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. So as far as the ways that we're going to keep people involved and keep them up to date on what changes are coming, it sounds like we'll be reaching out individually as we need to if we think that it's potentially something that applies to you. I'll also make sure that I am updating all of our social media channels, doing additional videos if that's something that makes sense, releasing blog articles after I've gotten information from you and from the rest of the partners on what this is potentially going to mean for people. So definitely make sure that people are subscribed to the newsletter, following us on social media. If someone was maybe not a client who is watching this, somebody who maybe we are not their advisor for, would you say that we'd recommend that they reach out to their advisor, ask them about their thoughts or recommendations on this?
Definitely. I think you definitely want to make sure if you have an accountant that's currently you're working with that you ask them if this affects you.
Okay.
And if you don't have anyone that you're working with, we'd be happy to have a consultation with you to let you see how it may potentially benefit you. It's always great to have a CPA as a lifesaver because things come along through life that you need a little assistance with. So we'd like to be that for you if you don't have someone in mind now.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great point. So I'll make sure that I will link the free consultation that we do offer underneath this video, as well as any additional articles as they may come about. I'll continue posting those under this video to try to make sure that we keep it current. And thank you so much, Lisa, for sitting down with me, answering some of the questions that our clients have had. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you guys for watching, tuning in. If you have any questions, anything that we didn't answer, please make sure that you reach out to our tax project management team so that they can make sure that we get your questions answered. And that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.